It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Living with an emotionally absent partner can be overwhelming. Constantly combating hostility or overcoming subtle distance can leave you with the sense that the give and take in your relationship has disappeared. According to today's guest, Dr. Holly Parker, with the right tools, even the most broken relationship can be reinvigorated. Dr. Parker offers advice for individuals on both sides of an emotionally damaged relationship. She's a Harvard University clinical psychologist and author of the book, If We're Together, Why Do I Feel So Alone? Welcome, Dr. Parker. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Joan. I really appreciate you having me on. It's a big honor.
Well, thank you for that. And, Dr. Parker, what we're about to discuss is common in many relationships. I know it happened in my own marriage. So when you refer to someone as being emotionally unavailable, what does that mean?
That's a wonderful question. Emotional unavailability really refers to the inability or the lack of readiness to cultivate an emotional bond with another person. It really reflects a lack of participation, a lack of active engagement in cultivating a relationship that is healthy, that's gratifying, and that's mutually fulfilling for both people.
Often we may believe that we're in a relationship with someone who is emotionally unavailable. Is there a way that we can identify this type of personality?
Yes. So, when I think of emotional unavailability, I think of a big umbrella with room for a lot of people under it. And emotional unavailability is very much like that. There are a number of different kind of signs. And I think of these signs as things that can be present to a greater or lesser degree, because all of us can flop in the emotional availability department at times. Everybody has times when they are not optimally attuned, when they miss things, when they don't express themselves fully. But that by and large, there are certain things that we can watch for, and if they're coming up more, and you're noticing that they're getting in the way, then that can be an indicator. So here are some of the signs or things to look for. One might be, someone who doesn't seem to really try to tune into what's happening with you. Maybe doesn't check in with you, or doesn't seem to be clued in to changes in how you're feeling. Someone who tends to try to hide who they are, or who isn't willing to talk about what they're feeling. Maybe it's a relationship that doesn't seem to reflect a lot of positivity or caring. Someone who may not try to resolve conflicts in a constructive way, or tends to respond in ways that make things worse. Someone who relies on you as the primary source of their happiness, that they're not really able to, fill their own emotional tank. And also, someone who might not be tuned into their own feelings, or might have a hard time really describing what's going on with them. Criticism, frequent criticism is another. Someone who doesn't show respect to you, your boundaries, your privacy. Controlling, that's something that can come up. Certainly abuse is another sign. And some of these, if they happen, once or a couple times, and that's a sign of a big problem. For other signs, it can take a little more monitoring.
Well, doctor, what is it that happens when I know in my own life, when I met my husband. We were in college, and he was so interested in everything that I did or said. And then over the course of 23 years, there was a shift. And I know this happens in a lot of relationships. So is an emotionally unavailable person always that type of person, and he or she masks it in the beginning for whatever reason? Or can something happen that makes that person become less available?
Joan, I love that question. I really want to start off by saying that, anybody can wind up in an emotionally unavailable relationship. And, I would say the vast majority of people do at one time or another. And the way that emotional unavailability rears its head is complex. So in some cases, it's something that absolutely doesn't seem to be present at all, but it emerges later. And this can happen because of difficulties that are coming up in the relationship, maybe feelings that aren't being addressed in the relationship, issues that aren't being addressed. The other thing that can come up sometimes is people can find themselves at other points in life as they move along in their own journey. They can come up against difficulties that can make it hard for them to be available. So, for example, someone who finds themselves grappling with depression, that can be a big one, or someone who's grappling with addiction in some way. But then there are other things earlier on that can also, even if they're present in the beginning, can make it very hard to spot unavailability. So one of those could be that, it can take time for things to unfold and become more obvious. And so someone who is maybe prone to engaging in a lot of criticism may be on their best behavior early on, but then reveals it later. Someone who has a hard time with revealing themselves for fear of rejection could be putting on a bit of a front or a lot of a front, and it's not obvious until later when the relationship isn't deepening that there's a problem. Another thing that can happen is that, we might even notice the signs. Something in our gut just tells us, this doesn't feel right, something's off, but we don't listen. And we can disregard what our deepest intuitive sense is telling us. And then finally, another thing that can happen is what may appear one way, what may not seem like emotional unavailability. In fact, what could even seem charming initially, we later come to see and understand as unavailable. So someone who seems very cool and collected and devil-may-care, later on it emerges as, wait a second, this happens with me too. This is emotional withholding.
So, Dr. Parker, what now? What can we do then to create a healthy emotional connection?
It's a wonderful question, Joan. The way that I really think about relationships is their systems, and so, like with any part of a system, it's like a bicycle. If you change the gears, then another part of the system changes. And couples are the same way. And my thought is it really goes from the principle of the only thing that we can change is ourselves. If we try to change our partner, and many people do this, it winds up feeling like they're beating their heads against the wall. It can be really, really frustrating. It can be really anxiety-provoking. And so my goal is to give people the tools to empower them to make changes in their relationship. And the main goal is to really create both a sense of safety for the partner who's unavailable to begin to approach, and then also a place of self-care for the person who's doing the work and trying to approach. So the kind of first steps in the way that I think about it are really in-house steps. So taking a 360 view, thinking about whether emotional unavailability is present in someone's relationship, and identifying the dynamic and thinking about what their role might be, if anything, in fueling it. This doesn't come from a place of blame by any means. The most well-intentioned, best possible partner can unwittingly fuel a dynamic. And many people do this, for example, through pleading with their partner to change, or, for example, shutting down themselves to kind of give themselves some insulation and self-protection. So part of that step is shutting down the fuel that is heightening unavailability, and then also thinking about the whys of unavailability, why it might be coming up. It can make it easier for us to approach something and to go the distance with something if we understand what might be happening and what might be causing it. And then the next step is to really begin to lay the groundwork of trust. And there are certain things that I outline for people to think about in terms of creating more trust, giving the message that it's safe to approach and to get closer because someone who's unavailable is, keeping an arm's distance when it comes to intimacy. And then there are different strategies that we can use to begin to break down those barriers and begin to move closer to gradually shift the balance, increasing more positivity, lessening negativity in the relationship system. And as that happens, and continuing to do that, at first with one partner, and then hopefully, ideally, with both members of the couple. But even if someone's not on board for a while, that's fine. As long as one person is doing it and continuing to increase the positivity on their end, then that increases the odds that the system itself will change. It's not a guarantee, but certainly it definitely stacks the deck in favor of the system being more likely to change. And in the end, I also emphasize the importance of self-care and and really being mindful of what each person needs because, it's stressful to try to put yourself out there and try to close the gap of unavailability. And, no matter what, whether a partner comes back and moves in for connection or not, each of us owes it to ourselves to take good care of ourselves and to make sure that our own emotional needs are getting met.
The book is If We're Together, Why Do I Feel So Alone? How to Build Intimacy with an Emotionally Unavailable Partner. If you would like to get more information, you can visit drhollyparker.com. That's drhollyparker.com. Dr. Parker, thank you so much for being here with us. It is horrible to feel all alone in a relationship, and this is a great reminder that we're not powerless, and I hope that the information that you've provided helps our listeners to save, rebuild, or create a healthy, fulfilling, loving bond. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on, Joan, and thank you so much to everyone out there for listening. I wish you all the best.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit CYACYL.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us. I hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, CYACYL.com. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read our digital magazine, take part in the book club, check out our team, and be sure to follow the show on social media. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.